Hello everyone. Today we will discuss about the topic Lean versus Agile supply chain management. The topic Lean versus Agile supply chain management is covered under the subject production and operations management. So let's move towards the topic the Lean versus Agile supply chain management. So here I am sharing PPT. So in the first PPT here you can see the meaning of the lean supply chain management I have given. So lean supply chain management, it is a traditional, factory chain which focuses on producing high volume of products but try to produce at lower cost. So the basic goal is to add value to the customers but only by reducing the cost of goods and lowering the waste. So lean supply chain management it is all about the reduction of cost. It is all about reducing cost and no doubt lowering the waste as much as possible, because when we talk about reducing the cost, it is directly linked towards we are also thinking about the reduction of the waste as much as possible. So this methodology is important for the organizations which are producing with the high volume of purchase orders, since the waste and costs can accumulate quickly. So in a lean approach, the focus is basically on efficient and streamlined operations, right? So anything in the process that does not add value to the customer, it is eliminated in the lean supply chain management, right? So in the lean strategies, we basically rely on forecasting how much inventory will be needed so as to cope up with the demand, or you can say so as to meet up with the demand. So there should not be any question of overproduction also. So lean strategy basically rely on forecasting how much inventory is needed, so you have to meet with the demand, so the question of overproduction will be avoided. So, in the lean supply chain management, it is basically a traditional approach which focuses on reliability and predictability rather than on flexibility and adaptability. Means the basic focus of the lean supply or lean supply chain management is basically on we have to eliminate the waste. So every activity which is leading towards adding value to the customer, that activity is adopted, and every activity which is reducing your value to the customer, that activity is eliminated. So it is reliable also, it is basically goes with the prediction also. So it is basically rely on the forecasting techniques also. So what are the forecasting techniques which are to be applied to predict about the inventory also, so that you can meet with the customer demand. And production is planned, over months, over even years in advance, rather than adapting to the changing market, because this pre-planning helps to find the lowest possible cost for the large volume of goods, right? So the lean supply chain has, traditionally very much most popular important regarding the reduction of cost, and and all the consumers like to pay less for this also. So next, agile supply chain management. So what is agility? So agile supply chain management, it is basically built to be highly flexible for the purpose of being able to quickly adapt to the changing situations. So when we talk about agile supply chain management, so agile supply chain is built to be highly flexible, it is built to be highly adaptable, you know so it is built to be highly flexible for the purpose of being able to quickly adapt to changing situations. So it is totally opposite to lean, right? So agile means agile supply chain is basically focus on flexibility and adaptability, and lean is basically focusing on reduction of waste, reduction of cost, right? And this methodology is considered very much important for those organizations that want to be able to adapt to unanticipated external economic changes. For example, change in the customer demand. For example, change in the technology. For example, change in the economic pressures, economic policies. So we need to change. We need to adapt. We need to adapt that much situations. That is called as agile supply chain management. Agile supply chain management basically refers to the use of responsive management. It means it is highly adaptable. It is, quickly respond to the market. There is a competency is there, flavor of competency there. It is highly flexible and quickness to manage how well a supply entity operates on a daily basis. The key benefit of agility is focusing on avoiding potential shortages and eliminating the excessively stocked inventory. This is also similar with the lean supply. Lean supply is also focusing on to avoid the overproduction. And agile supply chain management is also focused on potential shortages and eliminate the excessively stocked inventory, means to avoid the overproduction system. Agile supply chain is basically able to adapt to rapidly changing environment. No doubt the environment is very dynamic. No doubt every external factor is very dynamic. So agility adopts with that changing factors. Agility practices enable supply chain to change how process operate, right? So agility also provide other benefits like uh, high variety, sudden change in volumes, means we have to quick with the responsiveness to the market. We have to very quick regarding what to produce with how much variety, with how much volume, right? So must I guess that the agility and lean concept, they must work together. So as to produce efficient demand, we have to compete. We have to cope up with the external level changes also. So the question arises where agility is required, right? Agility is basically required in those companies uh, or which are fast moving retail sector. It is applicable in the fast moving retail sector. And where lean supply chain management is required, it is basically applicable in the FMCG sector, the fast movable consumer goods item, which sells household consumption and packaged products, right? So the agility in supply chain focus towards the smart systems, the Internet of Things, analytics, and effective transportation management system. Like what goods you are producing, how consistently you are going for that, who is your target audience, what's the demand for your product today, how quickly your target market change, how will fluctuations in the company will influence your product, your consumers, your spending habits, what does your supply chain look like, how do your supply chain partners operate. So these all questions are considered in the agility. So the difference between lean and agile is the fluidity with the response to the market. A lean supply chain focusing on basically reduction of cost, cutting of the cost by or with the production with the high volume of products with the low variability. And in the opposite that, agile supply chain focuses on responsiveness to the market. Fully responds to the market. It is highly customized with the batch of items, right? So agility means it is more flexible, it is more adaptable to the changing environment, like the change of technology. It is highly adaptable, right? So that's all about the today's lectures. Okay, thank you.